Hello, everyone. My name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. I'm very excited today because I have my friend Collin back on the channel to discuss one of my favorite fantasy stories, which is Fellowship of the Ring, which is part of JRR Tolkien's masterpiece epic, Lord of the Rings. And I'm somebody who reads this entire trilogy about once a year. It's been on audiobook that I've been doing it, and I've seen the movies every year, the extended cuts, all like one sitting every year since like I was 16 when the Blu-ray set came out. And so I have a lot of love for Lord of the Rings. I think it's awesome. And you've seen the movies, but you never read it before, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've seen the movies countless times, but just never thought to give it a read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how I went so long without reading it. Just been like avoiding it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the first time I read it, I was in high school, so I was like 16 or so, and that's what made me pick up the Blu-ray set. 'Cause I was like, man, I would love to start watching these like every year with the extended. So I'd only seen extended cuts for the third movie. I never saw it for Fellowship and Two Towers, so that was
Oh
really
yeah.
fun. But reading the books for the first time, like there's just so much more to chew on in this world. And I love the world building. I loved getting a lot more with the characters because we just kind of get the main highlights, I feel like, from the books and a lot of changes from here and there. But it's such a great first time read. How was the read for you on your first time?
I had a really good time with it. I tried going in with as like little expectations as possible, even though that's impossible because I mean like it's
Mm-hmm.
freaking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like I remember playing like like all the like the PS2 like Return of the King game and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, and like I've got a lot of memories of this series that have nothing to do with books, and so it was fun to like, and I feel like within like the first few chapters, already that was like out the window and I was like just engrossed in like what was happening in the book because I feel like the biggest thing I noticed about this is that this is like a book that's made to be read. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was going to be like super tough to read. I always was kind of intimidated by it and I thought it would be like some super complex like heavily flowery detailed prose that would be like hard to actually read, but no, this is like just it just reads itself. I don't know. It was fun from beginning to end.
Awesome. Yeah, because the first time I read it, I mean, I just wanted to see the differences between the movies. And like as a 16-year-old, I was able to read most of it on my own. Although I've heard that Silmarillion, which is like the creation story of the entire world and like all the gods and like celestial kind of meta stuff going on. Like I've heard that one is a lot harder to read. That's one of the goals this year. Is I want to reread Lord of the Rings and then get into Silmarillion because it's just something I really want to get into. So
Yeah, another reason why I decided to pick it up was because of your review of The Fall of Gondolin that you
mm,
read, and I was thinking I didn't realize that there were like so many other like companion pieces to the trilogy. I thought it was like the Silmarillion and that's it, but apparently it's like much larger. And so yeah, I realized like, oh man, if I have to at least read the trilogy, how can I call myself a fantasy reader if I
mm.
haven't freaking read this trilogy? So just breaking into it this first one. Still feel a little ashamed of myself that I haven't read all three yet, but we'll get
That's
there.
fine. Yeah, we'll get through them. But what was your sort of reaction comparing the movies to the book? Like, were there any changes that you were surprised about? What did the books, uh, or what did the movies do better? You feel like all these different kind of questions.
The biggest thing is like the timing. I don't want to say pacing because I don't feel like the
Mm-hmm.
pacing. Because if I say pacing, it's going to come across as like negative. Like it's a bit of a slow burn, but like in a nice way. But I guess like the actual like the time skips that occur here, like Frodo's like in the in Hobbiton for like 19 years or something, right? Am
Mm-hmm.
I getting that right? It's
Yeah.
he's just chilling there, and Gandalf even like stops by. He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're entrusting you with this magic ring that's like probably pretty terrible. but I'll be back. I'll be back in a while. And then he just leaves. And then Frodo just lives his life for like over a decade.
Hmm.
And like, I thought that was crazy. And again, I was like, oh, shoot, that ring, that's the one ring. I better get back.
Yeah.
Then he never arrives. Ring wraiths, and
Hmm.
I thought that was crazy. And then throughout the whole story, you have these like time skips. You have these like they're setting up camp and stuff like that. Little
Hmm.
things like where things that like in the movie it felt like oh this could have been like a day, and you find out it's like weeks and weeks they spent like going through like the misty mountains and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And it's just I don't know. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, the timing is definitely different because I think it's 50 years between The Hobbit and Fellowship of the Ring. And it's kind of crazy because Bilbo uses the ring so much in order to hide
Yeah,
from his family, who just kind of come over unannounced and want the land like inherited, because that's just the thing. They keep stealing like the silver, like forks and spoons and all this stuff because they want something. But
yeah,
like it was so funny, like hearing that it was like 20 years between Gandalf first visiting for Bilbo's party and then them finally leaving, because they because Bilbo and Frodo they both left at the age of 50 in both of the stories.
mm,
So I think Tolkien just wanted that to be like a consistency, and he started Frodo at like 30 years old. So in the book, from what I remember, but
for anyone who feels unaccomplished in life or anything like that, life starts when you're 50. That's the
yeah.
thing. Is that Frodo didn't even walk out of Hobbiton until he was 50.
Exactly. Oh, it froze for a second.
I think that's like I honestly do think that like J.R.R. Tolkien was kind of saying that a little bit too. He's
Yeah.
like he's like, hey, your journey can begin at any moment, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
I do think that's kind of beautiful. Like
Yeah.
it's but yeah, it did surprise me because like you assume watching the movies, it's like Frodo, he's got to be like 30 or something, right, or
Yeah.
less.
About. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, gosh, like yeah, big change, but I mean, it's still the soul of the stories there. And another couple things like those additions towards like the first act, uh,
Hmm.
which I feel like the kind of like centerpiece of that is Tom Bombadil.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
dude, fucking love Tom Bombadil.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah. I'm someone who loves Tom Bombadil because like it's kind of like the final like send off like to their part of the world, like this sort of
Yeah,
layer of whimsy and like fun that these characters inhabit in Hobbiton and all that. And he's kind of like the last like safe refuge for them. And like I love it because Tolkien is like, okay, like this isn't gonna happen often. Like once you guys leave here, it's going to be a whole nother like your expectations should be that like everything wants to kill me like once we leave here is what it feels
yeah.
like. So
Oh, totally. And like and they do go through like some troubles like as soon as they leave. And there's like a lot of little surprises which were cool.
mhm.
Like what was the white, it's like WYGHT, the something white, that I think is what it was, like that
Was it the Barrow-ites?
barrow, yeah, the barrow
Yeah,
whites, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that
that's the
that
fun
was
section.
cool. Yeah, I was not expecting that. It's like you get like that little kind of hint of like, oh, there's some creepy stuff ahead here, some pretty
Hmm.
horrific things these guys have to deal with. And um I thought those were cool. And I really liked the like was it Mary or Pippin? One of them got eaten by a tree.
Oh yeah, Old Man Willow. Yeah, that's in the movies actually
Yeah,
in the extended cuts for for Two
really?
Towers. It's Treebeard
I should know that.
rescues them. Yeah, they
What?
don't have Tom
I'm gonna have to
Bombadil, but they do
rewatch that
have the
again.
tree eating them. Yeah, it's cool.
Is it? Does it happen? So is it like during like with a whole like tree beard kind of
Hmm.
section?
Yeah, it's in that
Okay, I
section.
remember
Yeah.
that now. Yep. Yeah.
Because they're drinking
Okay.
that like growth water, and Pippin is like, "Oh, Treebeard said not to drink it," and Mary jumps into the tree and starts drinking it, and he's like trying to get it, and all the roots come up and like trap them and like swallow them into the ground. It's really fun,
Cool.
yeah.
They had a way of like fitting it in. They just put it further ahead in the
Yeah.
story, I guess. But it's cool. Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, I never would have thought about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what was one thing that I was thinking of? Oh, what did you think when they ran into Bilbo's trolls from The Hobbit that was still like frozen? Because that's kind of
Yeah, that's
very quick in the movies, but they actually spend a lot of time like talking about it, and it's fun.
yeah. No, I remember the. I pretty recently saw the Hobbit trilogy, and so like those that was like kind of one of my favorite like sequences. That's in the first one, I think.
Yeah.
Unexpected Journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he yeah, so he gets them all like frozen, turned to stone, and then it was like recognized it immediately because of that, and
Yeah.
it that was a huge surprise. And they like kept referencing trolls a few times before that because
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, trolls live here in this mountain pass or whatever, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, they come across like the trolls that we know of, and I was expecting them to have to like fight something or whatever, but it was kind of like this tying up of loose ends or something. It was
Yeah.
really clever of him to do that.
Yeah, I really
Um,
enjoyed that because the first time I read the books, of course, I don't think, yeah, the Hobbit movies had just finished coming out, and I
mm,
wasn't particularly happy with them. I think nowadays I do
yeah,
enjoy watching them just on like a cheese level, and also just having a high budget, like another just look at Middle Earth. Like it's fun to see the Hobbit
yeah,
locations I like, and the eagles. Like I thought that part was great, but
they're fun movies.
yeah, but like having Tom Bombadil, I feel like would have been too much, and I'm okay that they did not include him, like in the movies.
Yeah, like in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I, I can totally see how like that would throw off the pacing. I think Peter Jackson did a fantastic job of putting this together. Like another big change. We've been talking a lot about like the beginning of the story. Jump all the way to the end here.
Mhm.
Like how the ending there, where like in the film, you have Fellowship of the Ring, where you have Boromir, like kind of like redeems himself
Mhm.
for his actions against Frodo while he's under the like he's ensnared by the powers of the ring, and he gets all greedy and he wants to take it from Frodo, but then he pretty much immediately like follows it up with like dying to protect him.
Yeah.
Just getting shot by like arrow after arrow after arrow. But then in the book, it's like Frodo and Sam are like, all right, we're getting on a boat, goodbye, and they
Yeah.
run away, and then Boromir feels terrible. He immediately feels bad, but then you miss that part. And so I was like, man, there has to be like another page here. So did it get ripped out of the book or something? And I'm assuming that's going to be in Two Towers, but could be different. I don't know. But that was a massive shift. I think that was really smart of Peter Jackson to like push that ahead, because that's like it feels like a natural climax there. It feels like it just really ramps things up. But I still enjoyed the ending of the book. I did, but that perhaps might be an example of how like the seeing the movies first so many times might have like slightly tainted the experience, but not in any like extreme way or anything like that.
Yeah. It's funny too because I can't remember, but Two Towers is split right in half with one section being Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and the other half of the book is Frodo and Sam, and it doesn't go back and forth
Oh,
with them. It's all just one of those groups, and then the second half is
wow.
all one of the other group. And like it's gonna be hard to like get used to that because I do wish it was like back and forth instead of it just being
Yeah,
all of one half and then the other half. So just a fair warning.
interesting. Yeah, I glanced at just like the chapter names of Two Towers, and I was getting that impression. I was like, oh, what the heck? These seem like okay, so we have all this and we have all that. Uh, wow, so it really is like just completely split down the middle there.
Yep.
Um, and I do think it's cool that like each one of the installments has like two books in it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I just like how he did that.
Yeah, because I know, I think in Europe they also split these books in half again,
Mm.
and I'm sure they split it that way. You know, book one, two, three, four, five, and six. So technically, it's a 6 book series. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can. Uh, yeah, I wonder. Like, wait, do they sell it like that ever,
I think so.
or is it
Yeah, like depending on the binding, because I know the Game of Thrones books they were sold like with each of those in half because it was so long. So
right?
and some of them even into 3 book series, like for each book. It was especially long enough.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a good marketing idea there, because it's tough to sell a tome for sure. But I mean, Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
is exception, right?
Yeah. And one thing that I think is fun with this series is that you have Tolkien writing songs within the text, and
Oh
they
yeah,
sing it. And I love how after watching the movies, they play a lot of the songs that we know from it, and you can kind of hear it and just listen along to the soundtrack while reading the chapters, and it elevates it a lot. I don't know if you tried that, but it's really cool that the
I
songs are so like accurate to what Tolkien did.
I yeah, I didn't realize that there were songs from the book in the movie, but I
Hmm.
was like every time I came across a song here, I'd like kind of like sing it to myself as I'm going through because like they're like really well written. I mean, they have like a rhythm to them that is
Hmm.
like easy to kind of uh, it like helps the pacing more than hurts it. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if you look at the songs as like a thing that get in the way or whatever, it's I could see how that would frustrate you. But I every
Hmm.
time they came up, it was kind of like oh cool, we could do this, and it's fun. Like I don't know, it just made it like an elevated the experience for me and made it more uh, like multi-layered, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is a good book.
You can say that again.
It is. Lord of the Rings is good. Like, what do you want? I'm I'm joining all the other millions and millions of people who
Hmm.
love this book. Okay, fine. I love it too. Fine, fine.
Yeah. But what's especially fun with the music as well is that they had their own version of the Misty Mountains Cold song, which is the song that
Mm,
Bilbo and all the dwarves sing in the Shire in his house
mm.
early in the movie.
Oh,
And it goes exactly the same way. Mary and Pippin, they write a version of it for Frodo, like as they're at, I think, Farmer Maggot's house, and they're
right,
like
right.
eating together for the last time, like as a group, like having a great food, having all that, good Hobbit food. But like it was really fun, like every time I get to it since the Hobbit movies came out, to like be able to hear that song and read it with that tone or that kind of rhythm. So that Howard Shore made. So I love Howard Shore. Like he does a lot of great.
It's amazing. Like he did like it was like just a work of perfection. Like those that's like just ingrained into my childhood and
Hmm.
adulthood. And it's I don't know, like I don't know when I do something when there's like when you have like a really good moment that you feel proud of yourself.
Hmm.
Like sometimes I just hear like bum 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 bum
Yeah,
bum.
that's awesome. What
It's
would
yeah, I mean it's just
you? Yeah. So I love the world building in this book, and what was your reaction getting like basically a giant like Hobbit's politics chapter to be the first chapter of this book? Like, cause that always throws all new readers like off so hard, cause they think they're going to start with like how the movie is, where you start with the big history of the ring and Sauron and all this stuff. But no, you just dropped into like, hey, these people living in the earth, like they got big hairy feet and they love smoking and eating.
I feel like it was a lot of fun. I think that it worked for me. It worked for me, and I got a couple of reasons why it worked. So first, I was curious. I wanted to know, like, what do I not know about hobbits? Because I knew coming in, people said that like, oh, you get a lot of hobbits at the beginning of the story, like more than you expect. And so I thought, okay, it's cool. And so I kind of appreciated this little thing because I haven't read The Hobbit. So I mean, it's felt like kind of like a refresher. You get like a
Hmm.
brief history of hobbits, um, and then number two, I probably the most important thing is that it made the rest of the book much easier.
Hmm.
So like it felt like this like that was like the diving board, and then you jump off and then you're in the story. And
Hmm.
it felt like even though you're still starting kind of slow technically, like
Yeah.
it's you're happy just to be in the narrative at that point. And when you are in that narrative, like there's like a there's like such a presence to his prose. Like it's God, it's so hard to describe. Like he's very transparent. He's very transparent. I really thought it was going to be like really flowery, really like kind of like going into like too much detail here and there, but like he'd only describe things that like would add to the experience, and then you just move on to the next thing.
Hmm.
Um, but it just so happened that like the next thing was just another Hobbit related thing, which was fine, which was cool because just the way he would write was so beautiful
Hmm.
and uh and there's always like more information. It doesn't feel like you're getting like bogged down. And uh I really feel like the pacing was like a strong suit of the book. And I know that like a lot of people feel like this particular one is too slow. And
Hmm.
uh I just looking online, it seems like that's the main like gripe I can find for people who have gripes.
Hmm.
And I disagree with that because I really enjoyed the pacing. I felt like when there were spikes, like when they go to the Moria, the bridge of Khazad Dûm,
Hmm.
like that felt like kaboom,
Oh
and
yeah.
that, like he knows when to ramp it up. Like it was just really masterfully done.
So speaking of Moria, that's my favorite like section of this book because you really get such a rich history of the dwarves and all of the like heavy hitters for like different kings and lineages, and like you get so much like beautiful detail about this culture because like Gimli, he's awesome in the movies, but like in the books you don't have like performances to like for it, because it's you're reading it. Like you don't have actors like in it
Right.
unless it's like unless it's an adapted, and like you get so much just dwarf like awesomeness in that chapter. And I was wondering what your favorite location was, like or section, like in this book.
Um, I really did like Moria. Because it felt there was almost like this post-apocalyptic kind of vibe
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't really expecting. Like it really felt like this is like a place that experienced an apocalypse. Um, like they're going through this land that like once was like this beautiful uh, like cultural phenomenon, and now it's just like feels like walking through like a dead mall or something,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like a shopping mall that's just been like destitute for like or abandoned for like decades. And how long ago was Moria like like decimated like that? Like how long has it been since the place was normal
So I
at
think
this point?
because there's like 50 years between the Hobbit and Fellowship. And Gimli, I think, said it was like 10 years before they took back Moria for the most part. And then, like, they haven't heard anything in about 30 years or so, 20, 30 years. Which made me
Yeah, because like
question,
some
like, why did it take so long for them? But I guess the land is just that long and, like, hard to navigate, especially with Sauron and Saruman kind of causing
because they
issues.
because they have that whole section where Gandalf, where they find that like crumpled up, like messed up book where they're getting like little bits and
Mm-hmm.
pieces of like what occurred there. So it was
Yeah.
like 10 years when those guys came back to try and like reclaim their land.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, yeah, that was awesome. I love that like story within a story thing. It's like this mysterious kind of vibe to it. And what do you think of the Balrog, by the way? Like in the book as opposed to the movie.
So I really love the idea that it's not actually this big like demon lizard kind of creature. It's actually like it's supposed to be like a humanoid angel of like fire, basically. And
Mm,
like, so if you look at non-movie inspired fan art of the Balrog, a lot of them just look like fire, like angels, with like a whip and all that. And so that's how I've always kind of imagined it since reading it. So I do love the Balrog in the movies, but like it's always fun to get like new looks into that. And I love the idea that like there was just a Balrog deep in the earth. And I'm sure whoever put it there, like they thought they would never be found. And then dwarves,
yeah,
they just love Mithril so much that they found it, and it kind of became known as Durin's bane because it was the bane to all like dwarves, but especially
mm,
Durin, who was the one who first uncovered it. I think they said so. I really like that
wow,
section too, where they talk about how in Erebor, which is that mountain in the Hobbit where Thorin is trying to get to, and Smaug has taken residence there. They talk about how Sauron had sent some orcs there to talk with the king of the mountain to try and get them to like give away the special ring to
yeah,
Sauron, and that he would buy it and stuff. And like that would be so fun to see in the movies, that side of the conflict. So I always forget that like Sauron did send tons of forces that way, because Tolkien talks about it in the appendices. And I kind of wish we got that too with the movies. I don't know if they'll make a remake in like the next 20 years, but they should do like the entire conflict so we can see the Lonely Mountain again. I think that would be a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that scene does stick out too, and it says a lot about the dwarves and like their strength, and so it was cool because like at that point, like if I imagine like I had never seen the movies or anything like that, I'd like build like a big respect for the dwarves, and
Mm-hmm.
already you kind of know that it's like this like butting of heads between the elves and the dwarves, and then immediately after this we have the Lothlorien stuff
Mm-hmm.
where it's like Gimli has to be like blindfolded the whole time
Yeah.
he's in there, and then everyone else is like, "We got to blindfold us too," and
mm,
because they want to all be like equal.
yeah.
And then Legolas is all like, "What? What are you talking about? I don't want to do that." And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
by the
love.
end, they end
Yeah.
up becoming
Go ahead, Sai.
like the best of friends too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah, I
It's so
love
satisfying.
those two in the books. Like Legolas, like it's so fun to imagine because that mithril vest that Bilbo had in The Hobbit that he gives to Frodo, like that was a vest for like an elvish prince, is what they said, and the only elvish prince that there was, because of how long these elves live, is Legolas. So he's technically wearing like Legolas's childish like vest or whatever of Mithril.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen that online. I haven't verified it, but I want to believe it. So,
Wow.
so, and I like how
Wow.
in
You
this
know
book,
Legolas.
yeah, I like how in this book, Frodo kept that secret for much longer, like from everybody. So then just Moria, because he gets stabbed and everyone's like, "Oh no, he died," and then he gets back up and they're like, "Oh, well, you just have thick skin, I guess," because he never shows it. It's later that he shows it to them.
Right. Yeah. It was like after they get out and yep, yep. And the Lothlorien too. I think you know that. I think that might have been my favorite section actually. And I know it's kind of slower than what we just had
hmm
gone through before, but I just think like the scenery description and just like that sense of like newness. Like it felt all of it felt new to me. Um, and then that whole dynamic with like Gimli
hmm
and him like giving God, what's her name? Uh Bleeding Lothlorien. I
Oh,
should know this
Galadriel.
by now. Galadriel. Yeah, how he's like so incredibly like he's like so smooth with her and
Oh
like
yeah.
he's so respectful and he's like he just says all the right things, and he's not like selfish, and he's not like he's he's he he's so careful not to insult.
Mm.
And like the one request he has is like just a strand of her hair, and like just to show like how like just enamored, and how uh and and I guess like when they leave too, I guess I was really surprised with like so uh like in the prose, Tolkien says like, and they never returned, they never came back to Lothlorien, and
Hmm.
there's like just like this kind of tearful goodbye, or like there's like this like I'd say bittersweet, because like it's all bitter, like because like Gimli is like so sad to leave, like
Yeah.
because they're never gonna come back. And uh yeah, I thought that was like just like the emotional journey there was like probably my favorite part of the book.
Oh yeah, that's probably my second favorite area because like it's so like it feels so safe. Like the entire
Yeah,
atmosphere of Lothlorien and the pros. Like even when the elves first show up and they like are translated like, oh, we could hear you breathe like from a mile away or whatever. Like it was just so funny that he was just having like all this love for Galadriel, like Gimli, because it's kind of set
yeah,
up that he has issues with elves, but like he's a convert by that point.
yeah. He
So
like instantly gets over himself, and he like instantly breaks through those like barriers that have been held up for how many generations. And it's like they assume, like the elves assume like dwarfs are like these like oafs, or like these people who like just are kind of do things by force or whatever. And then Gimli on the other hand is like just like the sweetest person, like
yeah,
just like the best dude. And it makes like this impression that like, so he says like he takes like this, she gives him like three strands of hair or something like that, like she
yeah.
hooks him up, and and uh and then he says like he's gonna put them, he's gonna what does he say he's gonna do with them? He's gonna bring him back home, and like make something out of it, like to where he
Hmm.
can uh like was it like something out of steel or something, or I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't
um
either.
yeah, it seems like something that would come back in like a later story or something,
Mm,
or have some effect on the later, like there's some implication to that
yeah.
magical artifact or something.
And one thing that I really want to one character who I wanted to mention, who is one of my favorite like side characters in the story, but doesn't appear in the movies. But his actions are in the movies, but it's done by Arwen, and that's the character of Glorfindel. What did you think of Glorfindel, and did you notice that that Arwen in the movies basically replaced him? Like,
So Glorfindel, is he the one who is also in Lothlorien there?
no,
Um,
he's at Rivendell. He's the one who grabs Frodo when he's having that sword sickness after being stabbed.
yes, yes. And they have the wave come down and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
take out all the ring
Yep.
wraiths. Yes. Yes, I did notice that. I did notice that at the time. It took me a second here, but I did notice that at the time.
Yeah.
And he yeah, he was a cool character, but I was like kind of like waiting for Arwen too, because
Yeah.
like the whole thing with like Arwen and oh my, no, you can't forget this name called Strider. It's Strider and Aragorn.
Aragorn, yes.
Aragorn.
I was going to say.
um, it's like what the hell, man? It's still my brain's mush right now for some reason.
Hmm.
But yes, uh, I was waiting for Arwen. Arwen wasn't in this book at all, right?
No,
Unless
she's
I missed
not,
her.
yeah. She's
Okay.
only in the appendices, I think, which is at the end of Return of the King. It's like 200 pages of just like family histories and heritage and like all that stuff, like and lore and history that's not in the main body. And like Arwen is in
Mm.
most of that. So
So Arwen is she? So she is she? Two towers? She come up,
I don't think she
or is
really
it not until
appears
like
anyway. I mean, she's talked about, but
really,
yeah.
really? What? That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's fun because you can actually go online and find like old forums while the movies were being made of people complaining because they didn't see anyone like playing Glorfindel, but they saw Arwen and they were like, "Is she replacing him? Like, what the fuck?" And like getting mad about
I don't know.
that.
Like, does Glorfindel come back at any point in the movie or
I
in the
believe
books?
so. Yeah, in Return of the King. Yeah,
Okay, okay. So there's perhaps implications there, other reasons why people might have been a little peeved about that. But I
yeah,
liked Arwen.
yeah.
I don't know.
Arwen's awesome, and that's like the most emotional of the like stories. That's not just like
yeah,
action or like brotherhood. Like it's the only like romance that we get in the movies. So I like that they had her come in. I love Glorfindel, but like it makes
sure.
sense. Like so we actually learn about her and her relationship with Aragorn. So because Aragorn's awesome in both of them, the books and the movies. So
Yeah, it gives Aragorn something to fight for or whatever too. But one thing, Aragorn was a bit different in the books though too, because like they really like want to get across like how messy he is, like how much of a mess he is. Like when
yeah,
they first see him, like the difference between Strider and Aragorn, like they're very, I don't want to say like different people, but they're like almost kind of like the Gandalf the Gray, Gandalf the White kind of a thing. Like
oh yeah,
there's like this evolution within that person, and um it was like a much more stark contrast there when in the movie uh it's like it's the same actor throughout, and he's like he always looks cool, like from the very beginning
yeah.
he's like brooding cool, but now he's like kingly cool by the end. So it's
hmm
like I don't know, I feel like there was more of like a like an expression of him being just like a straight up mess at first, like someone you wouldn't trust immediately.
hmm
But yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was cool, but
yeah.
caught me by surprise.
Yeah, I really like Aragorn, and I just feel like he is just way cooler than he has any right to be. Like, he shouldn't be like so cool, like all the time. Like
Yeah,
every time he
like every
appears, yeah,
every fantasy book that I've read, otherwise, like has an Aragorn in it. Like you can tell, like,
yeah,
oh, this guy's heavily inspired by Aragorn. Um, and uh, and it's always like it's usually like my favorite character in the novel too. And so
yeah,
it's been a big contribution from Mr. Tolkien,
yeah. If
Professor
you're a
Tolkien.
fan of Wheel of Time like I am, Lan Mandragoran, he's basically Aragorn. So,
Yeah,
because he
I would
also
I
is
would
like a
expect.
king in hiding kind of situation. So,
Yeah, someone who even if they weren't a king, even if they didn't have this like this right to the throne or like whatever it
hmm
may be, they're still like this hardworking badass who would like pave their own way regardless, and and you have like just a deep respect for them. And all of a sudden you find out that like, oh, and by the way, they're a king, or like they're they have the right to the throne, yada yada, and it's always like just this awesome feeling of like, oh, cool, so this person's getting what they deserve, and they earned, and
hmm
um, yeah, it's I don't know, that's probably one of my favorite tropes at this point. It's when I read a fantasy novel and if it doesn't have that, then I'm sad.
Yeah, same. Like I just love kind of the journey that that type of character goes through every time. Like starting
Yeah,
from one place and totally different place that you don't expect later.
yeah, it's such a great arc. Um,
So what do you think about I guess what was some unexpected like changes, I guess, that I guess we haven't really talked about. Like Barrow White's, I think for me, and Tom Bombadil's the biggest difference, but also the amount of time that it takes them to go through Moria, because it's like an entire month that they're in Moria in the
yeah,
book. Like
yeah,
the time stretch is very different too, like compared to the movies,
that's
and how that adds to the atmosphere. Because I still feel like there's a lot of
the biggest
tension
thing.
in the books, but it's like it seems like they have time, and the movies improve upon that quite a bit. I feel.
Yeah, like there is that tension of just like there's more realism in the books. Like there's that tension of like we've already gone this many miles. We have this
Mm-hmm.
many miles to go, and you feel every mile as the
Oh
reader.
yeah.
Um, and like them going up into the Misty Mountains, then having to turn around after it's just like too much for them because like the mountain's
Yeah.
like trying to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Having a sentient
that,
mountain was awesome. I always forget about that. Like, because it
yeah,
wasn't Saruman. Because in the movie, it's Saruman. That was another big difference for me. Was that a
yeah, it's
mountain
just
is trying to like shrug them off? Like, couldn't do that in the movie, I guess. That'd be too weird.
yeah, and then like Legolas like prances through the snow back down or something,
Yeah.
like finds them away. Just I loved all of that. Like the
Yeah.
whole um then there was the part where they're camping out just before they get into that section where
Mm-hmm.
like the crows are like coming or like they're like birds but they're
Mm-hmm.
like they're the watchers of Sauron and
Yeah.
or minions and they have to like hide from those and like put out their fire um and like little things like that just like I feel like were my favorite part of the experience. Like it's not the stuff that like all the stuff that I expected to be my favorite. Like they were awesome, they were cool, but yeah, just those like more realistic moments of the journey were what like have stuck with me. Like I feel like I have like these when I first started reading it, I had like images of the movie that were like kind of like popping in to try and like get a foothold. But later on, I feel like I was getting these images of like new things. Like I have like memories
Mm.
of these scenes from this book now that are like just much more intense, have like so much more of like a quality to them than than the film. Like it's
Ooh. Yeah.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
really I really had a good time with it. But I want to jump into Two Towers really bad. I do. I,
Yeah, I love Two Towers. Like, cause that's the one where you get like, cause I think Two Towers is my favorite movie because it has Rohan and Helm's Deep, and this book actually
Shields.
goes really deep into like the territory that Return of the King, the movie, is. Like, so I'm very excited to get your reaction with that, and I won't say what like that
Ooh.
is, but like the movie really plays with the I guess the pacing of the story, like just like the book does. So, but in the other direction. So,
Mm. Yeah, I'm curious to see like kind of the changes. But I'm also yeah, I'm curious to see what remained the same too, because it is like really cool just to see like just how good of a job Peter Jackson did with
mm-hmm.
this. Like there's of course like a lot of stuff where it's like you had to be pretty creative with it because you don't have like a visual to go along with it. Um but yeah, I mean it's like what I loved about the movies is what I love about this book.
Mm.
But it's yeah, it feels more expansive for sure. Um it's this is like the real deal. This is the core of the concept of Lord of the Rings, and yeah, it's cool finally getting into it. And I guess the reason I didn't read it at first is because I was afraid to be too influenced by it
Mm.
because like the reason I started reading things like Brandon Sanderson
Yeah.
when I like first started really getting back into fantasy was because I heard about like Stormlight and how it's like not the general fantasy setting.
Yeah.
You got like crab creatures everywhere. You got high storms and things like that.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like new to me. And so I wasn't particularly craving something that was like heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings. Um, even though I love the movies and everything. But I've kind of come like full circle where now I'm coming back to this. I'm able to appreciate it for what it is
Mm.
and how influential it is. And I've read enough fantasy at this point, uh, which is not that much. I've read it just enough fantasy to where I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not like this isn't going to be like my only influence. But I really, I mean, I think I was in the perfect headspace to start this.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, cool. I'm trying to think anything else. One moment that I am always surprised about is that while they're on the canoes or rafts going to
Hmm.
uh, the end of the book or whatever, there's a moment where Legolas shoots at a Nazgul flying one of those dragon creatures.
Yeah,
And like that was
right
such a
about that.
shock to me the first time I read this book, because I was like, "That's on the movie! Oh my gosh!" Like what did you catch that? Like,
I did, but then I like kind of second guessed myself. I was like, it can't be that. That
yeah,
can't be that. But it was, and you just like confirmed that for me, and that's crazy. Like you don't expect like kind of it all hits at once. You know, you got
hmm
like you finally got like Smeagol slash Gollum doing his stuff, then like, and then Smeagol he wasn't in that scene, right? In the movies, right? He wasn't. I don't remember him being in the water following them there.
he
I could
was
be wrong.
actually, yeah. You only
Was
see
he?
his hands. Well, I think it's probably in the extended edition. Is why.
Still, I should know. I should know by this
Well,
point.
yeah,
But
it's something that like I definitely miss. So like, I think it's fine. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
he was like it was so much. I was actually surprised because like
hmm
I thought like a sea or a river monster was going to come out or something because
Yeah.
uh like Sam kept like looking at things. He was like, "Did I see? Is that log alive? Does that log have eyes?" Or he explained it like something like
yeah.
that. Smeagol was like the last thing I was thinking of at that point.
Hmm.
But that whole section's cool too. Talk about like the stretching of time. Like we were kind of like they'd get off the river and camp and sleep and then get back onto the river and
hmm
it like it just made it feel more real. It made it feel more like the world feel more expansive. Um, you flip back to the map and look at it and it feels more like accurate. Like you have an idea of like just where you are. Um, yeah, I guess I'm excited. I want to learn more about the lore, but I'm like kind of hesitant. I don't want to like do too much Googling or anything like that
hmm
because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin it. Like
Yeah.
part of it being like mysterious is kind of cool. Like ooh, what's that kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. So, what are some of your expectations going into Two Towers? Like, what are some things you want like more of, like in the series, based off of your reading of the first book?
That is a good question. Um, what do I want more of? I I'm actually excited for the fact that it's kind of split down the middle, like where you have the
hmm
first half being this and the second half being that, because it makes me think like, okay, so that means that we have like a pretty because the pacing in this was so good. I'm imagining that it's going to be like kind of like one thing after another. I feel like it's going to be kind of ramped up
hmm
in comparison to this. Um, which is good because I think this did its job. I enjoyed the pacing of this, but I would appreciate things to be a little quicker in the Two
hmm
Towers. Um, just because I feel like we've kind of like set the groundwork and everything already. Um, and even if it does slow down a little bit and we get some like more like exploring different like scenes, some different areas, I'm down for that, but I guess I do hope that it speeds up a little bit just because I'm in
Yeah.
that mood for that. I guess I don't know.
yeah,
If that makes any sense.
it does. Yeah, I think the second book definitely delivers on that. The pacing, because every
Nice.
chapter like is basically its own setting. Like it's kind of like what the first book did, was like you know Rivendell and Amon Hen and like the Shire. Well, the Shire had like 4 chapters like for that, but it was like within the Shire, it was like hopping through different locations and all that. So I'm excited to see what you think of book 2. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think of all the different like? What do you think of the like the world building of this series? Like, was it too much for you? Like, cause I know that's always the question people have is like, oh, it's just Tolkien like spewing all his notes everywhere, and like for me, as a fantasy reader, I love having all those details and all that. Like Malazan does the same thing, which is like giving us a lot of histories and stuff like that. What's your take
I
on
think you
that?
gotta.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you gotta sort of expect a little bit of that with fantasy. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
important. It's why you got such a big word count. And Tolkien, I mean, another thing that surprised me, I think he really did a lot of like they have uh like ideas of like when it comes to writing like the show versus tell and
Mm-hmm.
like explaining something through action versus explaining something that's like just like deliberately stated just so the reader can hear it um and I feel like Tolkien didn't do that very often like you have
Mm-hmm.
songs which are like a really natural way of doing that which and they're done with like such finesse to where they do not get in the way. I think it's awesome. um and it's like this deeper world building that gives you more of like a grasp of like history and these locations, what might have occurred there, or what it means to these people. Um, and like you have there weren't really any like info dumps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it was like scattered really like intelligently and really like there's a finesse with like where things were placed. It's like there when you want to hear it. And the only thing that stuck out to me, and I said this on my review, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that negative of a thing. It just stuck out to me. Is Gandalf? There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of scenes there where Gandalf just like rattles off a lot of stuff, and I get it. It's like Frodo needs to learn these things, right?
Yeah.
But it was uh, I see why he did that because this book would have been another 100 pages long, 150 pages long if that was all shown through action somehow. We'd have like a scene like demonstrating this about the world. It was just better to have Gandalf just say it.
Yeah.
He's a wise wizard. He knows stuff. Helps this helps prove that he knows stuff. And I I totally get it. I totally get it. It just stuck out just because I guess I'm like I'm trained to look for those things, but if I wasn't looking for it, I wouldn't. It wouldn't have been anything, and it didn't even bug me that much. I'm just
Yeah.
not a negative. It's just like be mixed thing, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough because like Tolkien, the Silmarillion was basically like his big project that he worked on for decades. Like he never intended on publishing anything with that. So his son, like he just took as much of the notes that were like grouped together into this one kind of mission or one sort of like writing project. Well, like it was so fun to sort of get a lot of different hints and stuff about these more histories that Tolkien hadn't figured out yet. Because I read Fall of Gondolin, and it was so fun to get all that extra info because that was a whole novel's worth of information that Tolkien didn't want to or couldn't put into Lord of the Rings, and it wouldn't have added anything good to include that 200 pages of material because it would have stopped the series. I feel like so it's like really
Yeah.
fun to be able to get like these kind of random mentionings of these stories, but then you can actually go and get the book now because his son has basically re-released all that material he just had hundreds of pages of notes on. So I want to get into the Fall of Numenor too. So
Yeah, yeah. It's I remember you had a really positive review of Fall of Gondolin too. So
mm-hmm.
like, do you feel like the story itself was as enjoyable as Lord of the Rings? Um,
Yeah. So what's fun about the Fall of Gondolin edition that I have is that it's the it's the story of Gondolin but three times, and his son kind of gives like the original one that he wrote like first, and then like the second one that he wrote that he was kind of like, yeah, it's almost there, but I don't know, like there's something missing, and it's like the third iteration of the Gondolin story, and like that's the one that Tolkien ended up choosing, and it's like 80 pages or so, so it's a total of like 200 or so. So it's like 40, 50 pages of story and then like a bunch of pages on notes and stuff that his son compiled, and I feel like it really helped or elevated even more appreciation towards this trilogy because there's Balrogs in that story. It's like an army of them attack the city with Sauron, and
Damn.
like you have big dragons come through and like do all that. And Legolas is there too, and he's just kind of helping with the women and children with the evacuation. And I didn't know he was there,
Wow.
so he was making sure
Yeah.
like people were surviving. He didn't do any like skateboarding like attacks and all that, but
And that shield surfing thing
yeah,
and always sniping people.
yeah,
Yeah, that's oh boy. That's not to say that that wasn't awesome. That wasn't sick,
yeah.
but but yeah, I'm not expecting to see that scene in the Two Towers book,
Probably
but
not.
I mean it might be.
Yeah,
Built a little Hollywood for sure.
yeah.
Um, man, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that one. And yeah, as soon as I get through these, I'm sure it's at some point I'll check out Fall of Gondolin and Numenor.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's cool that there's so much on this. Because you got like one other thing about the world building, just like the layered aspect of it, how like you
Hmm.
have like the weapons names and stuff like that. You have these
Yeah.
like little snippets here and there where it's like, oh, it goes way deeper than this,
Mm.
and but the story continues moving, keeps rolling. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed his methods of world building.
Yeah, and there's just so much information out there too. Like it's just gonna be fun. Like when one day someone goes into like George R. R. Martin's writing like thing, and just is able to publish all of the different drafts that he had for all of the books, and like we can just go in and study it and all that because it's so fun to study the world of Tolkien. There's so many books on it, like just directly from his notes that his son like compiled into like focused books on. Like I want to get
Yeah,
into Baron and Luthien especially because that's Aragorn and Arwen's love
right.
story. So
I did a couple years ago. I looked up that I think the Baron and Luthien story, and just from what I remember, yeah, it is pretty like heartbreaking, right? Like
hmm,
or the it has to do with the Silmarils, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah, and then I don't remember any of like the details about it, except like someone gets like torn apart by a giant like werewolf or something
hmm,
like that.
yeah,
Cool. Okay, I
yep.
remember. Cool.
Yeah, they kind
Um,
of go into it in this book, but it's like it's in one of the songs. So
right.
if you're not reading the lyrics closely, which I don't, I skip the lyrics. But I do the audiobook, so you get Andy Serkis actually singing the songs, and it sounds
That's awesome.
great. Like, and he goes with the Howard Shore version too sometimes.
I'm I'm gonna have to listen to that at some point. Honestly, like
It's so good.
yeah, it's
Because I've read the entire Lord of the Rings 3 times over. This was my fourth time
damn.
reading Fellowship, so and I this is the third time doing the audiobooks, so like
Yeah, I mean
they're really
these
good.
books like it feels like the oral tradition kind of thing, like where I feel like Tolkien like would be really into that, like the
Oh yeah,
fact that it's like spoken aloud. It's kind of like made to be spoken aloud. That's
yeah,
one thing I noticed about like a lot of modern authors is they forget to do like an editing draft where they speak the word of the aloud. Like you have to say like I can't tell you how many times I've like written a sentence and I think like, oh, it's so cool. It's the best thing I've ever written. Then you say it aloud and it's like just cringe.
yeah.
And you never know until you say it aloud how
Hmm.
it like actually flows in speech. And there's some books that are more like supposed to be in your head, but I think that's invaluable. Like actually
Hmm.
like saying it. So there is something to audiobooks. And there's something to reading and being read to, and that's because I mean like human history, like stories initially were like just an oral tradition, like a thing that you would pass down and you'd learn like word for word, and
Hmm.
people had like amazing memories with that stuff. And so like you get a glimpse of that with these songs
Hmm.
specifically, where like everyone knows like all these different songs. Like I can't think of like the lyrics to like a pop song most of the time, and these
Yeah.
guys are quoting like verse after verse after verse. And
Hmm.
uh I think that's we need more of that. We need more of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring it back.
Yeah, and what's fun too is that Tolkien was a big like epics type of guy. Like he was the one who translated Beowulf into English. Like he was part of that team who, like for the first time that did
Wow.
that, like using modern
Wow.
English. And like I've read Beowulf, and you see so much influence like into Lord of the Rings from Beowulf, and I bet like
Mm.
and songs are such a major part of that series too, Lord of the Rings and Beowulf. So like I love that he was deliberate with that, and like it's from his background, because he like
Yeah.
doing Lord of the Rings and the writing about Middle Earth, like it was not his like main project in life. It was like a side gig for him. So like like it's so fun seeing how closely his professional and personal projects were. Like you can tell he really loves this type of story and type of writing as well.
Oh, definitely. Um, yeah, it'd be cool to check that out at some point. Only experience I have with Beowulf is that movie with like
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie in
Yeah,
it.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Grendel was
Yeah,
it? The
Grendel, yeah. Which is the name of one of the Wheel of Time Forsaken people. So that's
ooh,
fun.
got some references there, illusion. Um,
So yeah.
Man, so anything else you wanted to cover about this one, or what are you thinking?
Well, we covered all the notes that I had. So is there anything else you want to mention with this book? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's tough, because
yeah,
like I mean, this book's been around, and like so many people have said so many things about it, and
yeah,
I can only be true to like my experience with it. I feel like I'm kind of like, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
okay, awesome.
But I got to read the rest. Read the other two.
Yep, yeah, I can't wait to get into Two Towers, because I always forget like where we stop with like one half and or both halves, I guess, where we stop in each of them. So it's gonna be fun to like get that again and get your reaction. Because Two Towers is like it just keeps getting more different from the movies as the book goes on, to where book three is totally different. I feel like than from the movies. So
Mm.
especially
Book
the
three is.
endings. Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay, I am looking forward to that. I assumed it would be like pretty close, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Sick,
So yeah.
man. So yeah, let's do another chat here when I get through the next installment.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to do that. So if you're still watching, thank you all for watching, and let us know what you
Thank you.
think of the book down below. Again, I think we've all said so many things about the series throughout our lives. It's kind of hard to like come up with new stuff, but it's always fun to talk with you. And as someone who's more sci-fi focused, and I'm more cozy in my fantasy side, it's fun to kind of come together and get your perspective on this. So thank you for joining with me again.
Oh yeah, it's always a pleasure, and yeah, no, like your reviews on fantasy stuff have definitely been that's what pushed me to do this finally. Like I don't know how many other more years it would have been. Like,
I'm
so
happy to
thank
have
you.
inspired you. So,